when she come into your place, so you best not forget it. She gon' tell you how it is, cause she's Rick the critic. When she all up in your city, oh, you best not forget it. Let you know if she like it, and if she get with it. Let the whole world know and be the first to admit it. Let you know if she's good and if she dig it, cause she's Rick the critic. Rick the critic, Rick the critic, Rick the critic. She the first to admit it if she can't dig it, cause she's Rick the critic, 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 Rick the critic.
All right. Yay. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And thank you for allowing me to come inside your home. Today, listen, we're going to talk about Detroit. I have had this, it's not a vision, but you know what? And I'm going to talk about it with you because it's something. Listen, I was just thinking the other day, I was having a conversation with my friend LaMonica, and we were talking about Detroit. Now, I've been talking to Davide and Daniel. They're doing a documentary on Detroit, and they came back and they were talking to me about some things about Detroit. You know, they have the houses there for $500 and $1,000, and lots right next door to it for $50. And so, anyway, as we're talking, and you tell me what you think about this, I want you to call me on this. I'm thinking to myself, I thought about in Japan, and I'm thinking, okay, Japan just had this horrible, you know, they had the tsunami, they had the earthquake, a lot of things. They had a lot of trouble there, and a lot of people lost a lot of lives. My thought was, and what do you think about this? I'm thinking, what if Japan brings their auto dealership, because also I also read where the colors, you know, they do a lot of different reds and blues and different colors in Japan for on the cars, the colors for the cars. So that's going to hit our economy really different. That's going to tear their economy up. But this is my thought. GM in Detroit is already set up. And LaMonica and I were on the phone and we're talking about it. And she says to me, well, you know what, Rick, what about GM? And I'm thinking, that's the thought. What if Toyota decides that they want to come over here to the States and take over GM in Detroit? That makes a lot of sense, doesn't it? They wouldn't have to set up anything. Everything is already set up. It's already there. All they've got to do is bring the company and all their people over to Detroit, and then it would boost the economy up. It would bring Detroit could get back on the map again. What do you think about that? Not only that, my thought was those of us that are here, $500 for a house, $1,000 for a boarded house, that's not a lot of money. Don't you know, if Japan decides to bring Toyota over here and they decide to come into GM and take over their plant, they've got to bring their people with them. So when they come over here with their people, guess what? We here, if we go to Detroit and buy some of those $500 houses, some of those $1,000 houses and kind of sit on them, guess who's going to buy them if Toyota decides to come here? Just a thought. Just a thought. You guys think about that too. We are Americans. Detroit is a part of America. And a lot of times things kind of pass us by because we're kind of sleeping on some things. But I'm thinking that houses for $500 and houses at $1,000 and $2,000 and $3,000, you know what? You and a two or three of friends could buy a house. And listen, we don't have to worry about rent. You know what we could do? We could go to one of the churches. We could go to one of the universities. We could go to someone and say, look, we have a house. We're not going to rent it, but we will allow someone to come and live in there for free. They have to pay the utilities and they have to keep the property maintained. That way, I'm sure property taxes on a house wouldn't be a whole lot of money every year, and someone would be in the property maintaining it. And when and if Toyota does decide to come, guess what? We might be able to sell those little $1,000 houses for maybe 30,000, maybe 40,000, maybe even 50,000. Can you imagine a 3-bedroom house, all brick, for like $1,000? Come on, guys. it's time that we kind of like get on the bandwagon. I mean, you know what? Sometimes we're kind of behind on a lot of stuff, but this time let's be on it, okay? Let's kind of take, there are two times in my life that I missed two opportunities. And you know what? I said never again. The first opportunity, I remember years ago that McDonald's was for sale for $75,000. And I remember at the time my friend saying to me, Rick, you know what? It's only $75,000. Why don't you buy one of these McDonald's franchises? And in my mind, I said, a McDonald's franchise? Are you crazy? I'm not flipping burgers. Never in my wildest dreams did I think that it's a franchise. I mean, just stupid. So I said no. And at the time, I had the $75,000 and I was young and probably strong enough to actually, buy the franchise, put my children in there, and I would have a McDonald's franchise today. Even if I didn't want to keep it, I could have sold it for at least triple or quadruple that. So that was the first time that something passed me by. The second time was not too long ago, probably about 15 years ago. My cousin said to me, hey, Rick, listen, you know those check cashing places? Those are really good business ventures. You know what? You could buy one for like $20,000. And I kept thinking, $20,000 for a check cashing place? No, I don't think I want to be a business owner. Look, those payday in advances, those check in the cashes, all of those things are really, really big. And some of the people that I've talked to that actually owned them were making like well over $20, $30, $40,000 a day. Okay? Figure that. So now then, we're back at 2011. And my thought is, you know what? Maybe this is Detroit thing is something that we might want to look into. So I'm going to share with you my thoughts on it, and I have. I think that we should come together and pull together as little groups because you know what? We don't have to live in Detroit, but if we owned a little something in Detroit, and as cheap as that is, guys, come on, we could sit on that. We could sit on that for 5 or 6 or 7 years. We could sit on that little bit of money. We blow that kind of money going out to eat, okay? I'm sure we can blow $1,000 in a couple of months or less. Some of us blow more than that, you know what I'm saying, in a week. So why don't we start saving $3.33 a day? Why don't we get 2 or 3 people together and just commit to saving $3.33 a day, which will give us $100 a month, and put that pool together and buy a piece of property. Let's buy some, let's leave a legacy for our children. Let's have something that our children can be proud of. Now, that's Detroit. And I'm thinking, you know what? Do you remember, and it's called urban renewal. I don't know about you, but I lived in Los Angeles. I remember living on the west side of town around Western Avenue and Santa Barbara, which is now King Boulevard. I remember living over there. I remember when things began to change over there. Remember when we moved over there, we were little children, really nice neighborhood, and then things began to kind of change, and they changed over. And then you could start getting houses there for little or nothing. Guess what? USC is buying everything over there. Everything they can put their hands on, they're buying it. And pretty soon, you know what's going to happen? We're not going to be able to even purchase anything over there because they'll probably put a huge gate around USC, and we probably won't even be able to get in there unless we're going to the library. That's the first thing. The second thing I remember is, as a child, I remember getting on the bus and going downtown LA. There was Clifton's restaurant down there, or Clifton's cafeteria, which is still there. There were all the shows down there, and as children, my mother would take us down there, and we'd go to the Clifton's cafeteria, and we'd also go to the show, to the theater, and watch the movies. And then that began to go down and down and down and down, and it started looking like a ghost town. A lot of empty buildings. Well, guess what? I've been downtown lately. And let me tell you, you know what? The guys that you used to step over, the people that you would step over, the homeless people, those people aren't there anymore. They've taken those old buildings and those bank buildings, and they've gutted those buildings and turned them into, guess what? Awesome, awesome apartments or condominiums. They've even got places down there that are 20 and 30 grand a month. I mean, you walk in, there's a doorman, there's high rises, and they have exercise equipment in there. They've turned the buildings into places where, not only that you could live there, you can exercise in the building. They have internet cafe like downstairs. You don't even have to leave the building. Everything you need is right there. And then shortly, a couple of blocks over, right off of over there by Spring Street, there's a Ralph's Market that's underground. And I'm talking about some of the most wonderful produce. It's almost like going into a Whole Foods or a Sprouts. I mean, great produce right downtown. Right downtown where it wasn't so desirable, and all those little places that are crumbling down. You can't touch anything downtown now. When you go downtown, they've got places down there, like I said, for $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 a month. And I'm talking about, think about it. It sounds like a lot of money, but it's really not. If you live downtown, that means that you don't have to buy a car, you don't have to own a car, so you're not paying maintenance for a car, you're not paying insurance for a car, you're not paying car notes. So you're going to save probably what, 20, 30 grand there. You can, because of the green, you can catch a bike, you can ride a bike, you can catch the bus, you can catch public transportation and go to work, or maybe even walk to work. So the money that you save there, you're going to be able to take vacations, and everything will be accessible to you. Downtown, everything is right there. The Staples Center, everything is downtown. It's called urban renewal, guys. It's what all of that stuff that just was there and just dilapidating, all of it now is just coming up. I mean, when you go downtown, it's almost like you see people walking at 8, 9 o'clock at night, walking and jogging and pushing strollers and just walking kind of like it's in Westwood or Beverly Hills, right downtown LA. Now listen, we miss out on a lot of stuff, guys. Sometimes we're sleeping. Let's not sleep anymore on these things, okay? Let's start pooling our money together. Let's start putting our money together and start investing in some things. If you can't invest in some things in California, there's a lot of stuff going on in other states that will allow us with a little bit of money, if we can just wait for a little while. We've seen this cycle before. We've seen real estate come and go. We've seen the highs, we've seen the lows. We've seen this before. We cannot be too afraid to get out there and venture and start buying something. I cannot impress upon you enough. As Americans, we need to start putting our money back into America. We cannot be afraid of the economy. We cannot be afraid of the depression. We have got to put our money back out there. Yes, okay, real estate is, and let me tell you, rent is higher. It's cheaper to buy a place than it is to rent. Do you know that rents have gone up? I don't know, the percentage is like, it's gone up at least 20, 30% more than it was before. It used to be desirable to get a place to rent. Now, if you want to rent, listen, you got to go through a credit check. You got to go through a lot of strenuous stuff. Yes, you have to do that with buying a place, but there are a lot of people that are selling things for sale by owner. And let me tell you something. If you look at places like Detroit, if you look at places that are not so, if you look at Vegas, if you look at Detroit, even in Palm Springs. I was in Palm Springs last month. They had condos in Palm Springs for $30,000, $40,000. They were 1-bedroom places, but they were just as cute as a bug. I mean, cute places. And the little condos, I think their homeowners association was something like between $80 and $100 a month. Listen, you get a 1-bedroom apartment and a 1-bedroom condo in Palm Springs. I love Palm Springs. They have a lot of things that come to Palm Springs. They have the, the Corvair little car show that comes there. They have the antique cars or the classic car shows there. It's a lot of things going on in Palm Springs. You got a whole lot of people from San Francisco that are moving to Palm Springs. Let me tell you something, guys. Yeah, things are looking kind of, they look a little glim, but you know what? If we do our research and search hard, there's some stuff that we can buy. If you cannot buy it by yourself, get 2 or 3 people together. Listen, if we put $100 a month in a pot, You know what I'm saying? And there are 5 of us. That's $500 a month. $500 a month times 12 is what? What are we talking about? $6,000 a year. That's enough for us to put down a down payment on what? On a $30,000 condo. Okay, so guess what? Even if we don't rent the condo out, we might do it as a timeshare with somebody. There's a lot of things going on in Palm Springs. So those things that are going on in Palm Springs, guess what? We can share it with our church friends. We can share it with our friends at work. Oh, listen, you want to go down to Palm Springs? We got a condo there that you can rent for a few days. At $40,000 or $30,000, we're only talking about maybe $500 a month. We can do that. We can do that together. So that's just one of the things. There's some things, I saw some things in South Carolina. I saw some things in North Carolina. There are some things in Atlanta. Let's take advantage of this low, these low, not so much as low interest rates, but now when some people are losing, it's a gain for some other people. Let's try to get a hold. Let's strengthen back America. Let's strengthen back our country. We cannot just run and hide and just say, okay, we're going to rent. We're not going to spend any money. We got to put some money back into the economy to make some things happen for us. I'm just really just asking you guys to look. Think about it. Think about Detroit. Think about what I've said about Toyota. Even if they haven't considered it, you know what? They might consider it. I don't see where it would be a big thing for them. They would come over. GM is already set up. It's already a car manufacturer. They could bring all of that business here to the United States. It would save them money. They would not have to import cars. They would be right here in the United States. Dealing with car dealerships and things like that, it would be cheaper for everyone around. We probably could get Toyota cars a lot cheaper than we have been getting them because they would be right here. There's a lot of stuff going on here and they need to take advantage of it. Let's start bringing in money to the United States. It's a lot of stuff. Let's put our money into it and let's bring some stuff here. This is our home. We have got to stand strong and bring some monies into the United States. We cannot keep crying about this and that and this and that. Let's just be strong. Let's bond together. Let's make America strong. Let's bring our money back to the United States. It only takes a little bit, guys, just a little bit of money to bring this thing, to put this thing back on the map. We together can form little investment clubs and we can put our money into real estate. We can put our money into different things, even mutual funds, even different little things. I don't know enough about stocks, so I don't encourage that. But real estate, I do know this, that people are going to always need a place to live. There are people constantly coming here, constantly coming there. I was reading in the paper, Sunday paper, where the immigrants in Atlanta, they were, because of the immigration law, that they were, a lot of them were leaving. They couldn't find workers in Atlanta to do the picking in the fields for the berries and all the other agriculture. So they were looking, really hard. There were some people there that were actually putting advertisement in the paper in Florida, soliciting for people to come and pick the fruit because no one's there to pick it. They're losing a lot of people. So what Americans are saying is, look, if you will, if the jobs are there, there's a lot of jobs. There's a lot of stuff out there. There's some things that we don't want to do, but listen, you know what? We might have to do a little to get a lot. And so as God says, if we're faithful over little things, he'll make us ruler over larger things. So let's keep that in mind, guys, when we're out there. There's a lot of stuff out there. We just got to do our research. There's a lot of stuff. There's money out there. And we can make it. And while we're in a position to do something with a little bit of money, let's do something with a little bit of money. We'll be really, really happy. Let's become owners again. Let's become property owners. Let's leave a legacy for our children, our grandchildren. There are properties out there that are just sitting and boarded up. Like I said, in places like Detroit, it will not always be like that. Let me tell you something. If Toyota decides to come, they're going to bring their people. Guess what? They're going to need a place to stay. They're going to need those same houses. And if we don't take it, if we don't get it, they're going to come and they're going to get it for the pennies on the dollar. They're going to get those houses for 3 and 4,000. They're going to bring their families here, and guess what? They're going to come. Yes, they're going to spend some money in our economy. Yes, they are going to have a bargaining chip because they're going to be bringing thousands of people there into those plants and to work, and that's going to be their bargaining chip. Guess what, guys? If we just put a foothold in there and we just have one piece of property or two pieces of property. Remember, you heard it on Rick the Critic. If we just got a little something. A lot of people that I talked to that live in Detroit or were born and raised in Detroit said they would never go back to Detroit. Well, guess what? We don't have to live there, but we need to own something somewhere. That is the only place that I can think of where we can buy stuff for $500, $50, $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 for 3-bedroom houses and just sit on it. Yes, we don't have to rent it. If we can't rent it out, let's go to the universities. Let's go to the churches. Let's provide a place for some families. Let's just tell them, look, you don't have to, if you're homeless, it's okay. Here's a place for you to live, but you must be able to pay for the utilities. We can do that. We can build this country back up little by little, and that's what we got to do. Don't forget to vote. It's very, very important. Voting is important, and putting money back into our economy. We got to do it, guys. Listen, I have had a wonderful time with you today. I thank you so much for allowing me to come into your home. And remember, the person that needs the most love shows the least amount of love. Remember to love everybody, and remember that they could possibly love you back. And even if they don't worry about it. We cannot get to heaven if we don't love everybody, okay? This is Rick the Critic signing off. I love you, and I want you to continue to love me. Talk to you later. See you next week.
Rick the Critic, when she come into your place, yo, you best not forget it. She gon' tell you how it is, cause she's Rick the Critic. When she all up in your city, yo, you best not forget it. Let you know if she like it, and if she get with it. Let the whole world know and be the first to admit it. Let you know if it's good and if she dig it, cause she's Rick the Critic. Rick the Critic, Rick the Critic, Rick the Critic. She the first to admit it if she can't dig it, cause she's Rick the Critic. Rick the Critic, 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 Rick